back to a brand new episode of Gen Z BTC. It's me, Satoshi Guapamoto, your favorite educator in the Bitcoin space. And I just had to get on here and do a little rant for you really quick and talk about how in the future you're going to own nothing and you're not going to be happy, right? They want you to think, oh, well, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. This is a slide that they talked about. It was on the World Economic Forum. The World Economic Forum, the WEF, that is essentially a big meeting for all these world leaders and elites and, billionaires, trillionaires, really, to get together and plan how they're going to coordinate the lives of all of the little ants that they control. Right? They're coming up with a little plan, a little outline for the future of the world, right? And they're setting the policy. And at one of these meetings, I forget the year, maybe it was 2020, maybe it was 2021, I'm not too sure. They tried to pretend like they're pushing this like almost Buddha-like lifestyle where people like us, right, are going to be super happy to own nothing, because you're going to lose your need for materialism. Right? So they try to frame it like, oh, well, you'll own nothing, but you'll be super happy because you won't need anything. So this is like a mass gaslighting attempt, right? They say that you'll own nothing and be happy, yet they still push such a massive consumerist culture on us every day. There's an advertisement when you're sitting on the bus. There's an advertisement when you're scrolling through your phone. There's an advertisement anytime you look up anything. You look up a t-shirt, you look up a mug that you want to check out, you look up a city or state. They're trying to sell you t-shirts. You know what I mean? So there's always something being sold to you because in American culture, especially, if you're not buying something, then you're not happy, right? That's why all these advertisements, even if it's fucking medicine, niggas got to be smiling and shit and like, oh, I'm so happy. While the doctor goes over all the side effects that are worse than your disease. You know what I'm saying? So how will you own nothing? How will you own nothing? How are they planning to do this? Here's how they're planning to do this. Here's how it's always been. Here's how it's going to continue to be, right? Your income, this is a chart. We'll just do a quick little chart right here. This little chart, here's your income. Pretty steady. Here's the price of stuff. The price of stuff will continue to escape your income. Therefore, you won't be able to buy or own anything. And they're going to tell you, hey, you better cheer up, little buddy. You better be happy, little buddy. But let's be real, you're not going to be happy. You're not going to be able to have a higher quality of life. You're not going to be able to have a standard of living that is equivalent to the people at the top. They're going to ride around in private jets and pollute the air with 50 tons of carbon emissions in a single day. And then they're going to tell you that you need to have an electric stove and you need to drive an EV and you need to watch how much you keep that water on while you're brushing your teeth. And they're going to tell you that you should not be eating so much meat. You should probably be eating bugs exclusively, bugs and maybe a little bit of lettuce. So does that make you happy? I don't think so. It doesn't make most people happy. Another thing that's going to happen as we see this huge wealth divide, right? As we've already seen, we see birth rates. We see the decline in birth rates and the decline in relationships. We see that happening that's a pretty steep decline as well, right? A lot more single people who are coping, pretending like they're happy, right? But the truth is, they would like, and this might be idealistic, but they would like to be with a partner that makes them happy, right? There was a time where they probably had a partner who made them happy, and maybe something went wrong, and they weren't perfect for them. But the ideal human who's healthy wants to be in a relationship. Otherwise, you have something wrong with you, and you have to probably go to the doctor, and they're going to look inside your brain and they're going to find that there's some sort of chemical imbalance that's making you asexual or whatever else is wrong with you, right? Because normal people want to be with other people and that makes them happy. They don't necessarily have to be straight or anything, but people want to be with people. Otherwise, you're probably going to kill yourself, right? Because you're going to feel isolated. You're going to feel very alone. And no matter how comfortable you are with being alone, eventually you want to interact with other people. You want to build relationships with other humans because life is about people. All right? It's not about anything else. Life is about people. If you have $100 trillion, it doesn't matter if you have nothing to spend it on, right? If you have no one to spend the money with, if you have no one to spend time with, if you have no one producing goods for you to buy, life is about people. People make things. Maybe they make things that you like, and that makes you a little happy. But the things can only get you so far. Eventually, you buy so many things, you're left with just clutter, and happiness has completely escaped you. So, just something to think about. I'm saying all this because there seems to be one way that we can own something and maintain our happiness, right? There seems to be a way for us to own something that allows us to not get poorer over time, but to get richer over time, right? In order for our quality of life to increase, for our trajectory, for our quality of life to increase, for our vision of the future to increase, right? To strengthen our relationships with ourselves, right? And with each other. And that thing is Bitcoin. Now, many people will disagree with that. They just don't really understand how I can come to a conclusion based on magic internet money, how that's going to bring people together, or how that's going to make your life better. But on a Bitcoin standard, when your life is denominated in a currency that is deflationary in nature, where the price of it is actually going up over time and not going down, right? Your life gets cheaper over time, not more expensive. You're able to plan for the future in a way that is highly optimistic, because right now people have no hope. A lot of Gen Alpha people, a lot of Gen Zers, they have no hope because they already see people struggling who are millennials, who are way ahead of them, right? They're already struggling to buy houses and buy cars and have relationships and live decent lives. The baby boomers, most of them got off easy. Most of them are doing pretty good. They own their houses and everything's fine, but some of them are still working. Some of them are still working because they got caught up in that system where everything trends downward, except for the prices. The prices trend up, everything else trends down. In Bitcoin, the prices trend down, everything else trends up. It is the antithesis to the current system. And in that kind of system, you're able to have a relationship that's not constrained by money. Money issues are the number one cause of divorce, right? So you're already eliminating one of the major causes of divorce. People can focus more on relationships. I'm going to talk more about this in a future video. But does love really exist under capitalism? The answer is no. And now you might be shaking your head, and I'm sorry to say this, but you're actually coping. I'm really sorry. I'm going to break it down for you, okay? I'm going to do all the hard work for you. Okay, you don't have to do any research. You should, but you probably won't. So I'll do it all for you, and then I'll give you that information. And then maybe we can have a conversation in the comments. But under the Bitcoin standard, life just changes. Life just gets better. You can actually focus on the things that matter. You can plan for the future. On a fiat standard, on a US dollar standard, on a printed money standard, it's very hard to plan for the future. Because if you save up, let's say you want to put a down payment on a house and you work for 5 years and you save your 100,000 and the house was 300,000, you're ready to put down 30%, whatever it is. But the price of the house is now 600,000. So your future planning has escaped you because the asset increased in price, but your wages stayed the same. So now you can't actually do that down payment the way that you wanted to, the way that you envisioned it. Your future plan was shattered, you know? Whereas on the Bitcoin standard, you save up a little bit of Bitcoin to try to buy a house. You get to that time frame, and it actually turns out your Bitcoin is worth more than the house. It's worth more than what you were originally going to do. You were going to do a down payment. Now it's actually valued at the total value of the house. That's just how Bitcoin works. Because as money is printed, the dollars buy you less stuff. Because Bitcoin can't be printed, the Bitcoin will always buy you more, right? So these are big topics to grasp. You're not going to get it in one day or one video. This is a process, but it's about understanding that there is a way out of the system. It's about understanding that there is hope in a world that seems hopeless. We'll talk more about Bitcoin and hope a little bit later. But for today, that's all I got for you. This has been Gen Z BTC, Satoshi Guapamoto. I'm out of here. You can own something. You can own something. You can own your future and your own economic value. You can own that. And that is Bitcoin. And that's why we have to stack sats or die trying.